Hi, I'm Sam, CEO of Malvern International. With me, I have Bharat Guha, our Chief Financial Officer. We are here today to talk more about Malvern International, who we are, what we do, where are we now, and where are we heading to. You might be feeling doubtful about Malvern right now. Low stock price, limited growth history, and you don't know the management team yet. Essentially, it's now the ideal time to take part in Malvern's journey. As a matter of fact, Malvern has been through its painful stage of building the infrastructure in 2017 and 18 with the help of existing shareholders. As an education business, all it means is that it flips into the rapid growth phase now. And it's led by a proven management team. We have done it before. Okay, so that's just an introduction. Let us start with Malvern history. 1980s, Malvern was established in Singapore as a computing college. In 2004, it was listed on AIM at around 40 pence per share. However, there was no presence in the UK in terms of education centers. In 2009, Malvern House, London was acquired. At that time, the name of the organization was AEC Education, but the center in London was called Malvern House. So Malvern House started in 2009. The school was established in 1999, but it was acquired in 2009. 2016, in late 2016, we came on board as a new management with a new vision, new mission, and new strategy. We started making big changes in Malvern, and across 2016 to 2018, we have changed the entire management team and put new systems in place to make sure our organization is ready to grow. And in 2018, we started re-engaging with the market. And it worked well. We have managed to raise about £4 million in the middle of 2018, which shows that there is support in the market for us and we are trusted. We have faced a little bit of unfortunate situation in early 2019. A 10% shareholder faced their own financial difficulties, and they had to sell off their shares in one day. So our share price got affected by that. But anyway, we are on a journey to success, and we are working towards it. When I said about a proven management team, this is the management team, the senior executive team. We have a lot of other executive members as well in different countries. But the three of us came from New Zealand. Myself, Bharat Guha, the Chief Financial Officer, and Bailin, who unfortunately couldn't make it to here, is our Chief Operating Officer. She has to run around while we are here talking. The picture represents what we have done in New Zealand. I started when we started the business, it was one floor in the whole complex with 2 rooms and 3-4 classrooms. And I remember those days, to manage the cash flow, we had to rent out one of the rooms to make sure we have enough at the end of the month. When I left, we had 23 floors here in Auckland. And we have expanded regionally to Tauranga, Hastings, and Christchurch. And it became the largest international provider of education in New Zealand after University of Auckland and Auckland University of Technology. So private-wise, we were number 1 in international. We were only behind the top 2 universities. However, we sold the company for the benefit of the existing shareholders, and it all went well. The question next was, where to next? And Malvern came as a great opportunity to us. We looked at it. It had international presence. It was beautifully set for another start for us. And we decided to pick up Malvern and redo what we have done in the past. Obviously with a different kind of a strategy, with different type of products. Those products we used before may not work here. The demands are different, and we started replanning everything. What is key here is we knew that we have to refine the products, market, people, and the brand. So let's look at the education industry. The education industry, we can break it into 4 major categories of preschooling and schooling, language and vocational, diploma, degree, professional, and a skill update and corporate training. I had a few questions yesterday on the stand, people asking me, are you selling education or are you trying to talk to investors? We do both. So we are happy, more than happy to provide any corporate training, anything related to finance, accounting. I'll talk about it later. We are providing services on these 3 large categories. We have a lot of potential to grow. One single example, in the UK, export of English language delivery from the UK is 1.2 billion per year. When we started, our main goal was the first milestone achievement would be if we become 1% market shareholder of this. And we are currently only 50% through, despite doubling every year in 2017 and 2018, doubling our revenue. So there is huge potential, and we can get through it. What's key here is the fact that market is becoming increasingly international. Brand is vital in this market. Parents are sending their kids to overseas. Every parent these days are investing significant amount of money into their kids' future education and making a decision to send someone's kids from South America or China to London. There are 2 questions. Is this a reliable brand? And is this the right country I'm sending? One very important point is that UK is a premium brand in the international education market. And we are present in the UK. And we are selling our brand as a UK brand. So it's really helping us in terms of getting the students to the college. When I was traveling internationally before from New Zealand, everyone knows, they know it as a holiday destination. It was so challenging to sell it as an education destination because people would immediately think, isn't it a holiday destination? We had 4 or 5 slides, Bharat had as well, in our presentations, just saying why should you come to New Zealand to study? UK, I don't need it. I just need to say, why am I better than the others in the UK? So we are a few steps ahead. Let's look at the education business model. How does the model work? It's a simple model. Number 1 is to get the quality right. One of the problems with most of the education centers, not most of them, a lot of education centers, is that they cannot find the right management to keep the balance between the quality education and financial performance. If we get either of these wrong, either we will fail short-term or long-term. So we have to have the quality education, number 1, and we have done it before, we know how to do it, and offer the education out there, fill up the space. The key here is this, and that's why I said we have gone through the pain. If I have a classroom, half of the classroom will cover the cost. Where are we sitting now? About 8 million revenue and break even. We are here. From here onward, the building cost is already paid. The utilities paid. The marketing cost, it doesn't matter how many products I add or how many classrooms I add. Same marketing cost with the team we have internationally. The management, the administration. So the basic costs are covered, the fixed costs. And that's an important fact in education business, that the basic costs, the fixed costs, are big. We have already covered it, got through to break even. From here onward, we have variable costs, teaching and other costs related to each single student. But the rest will have heavy contribution towards the profit. I've got a graph here as well. These are dummy numbers, so don't rely on these numbers. And simply, that's a fixed cost, building and everything else we have, and we have a variable cost here, the total cost, and when we cross the break-even point, the profit can grow exponentially. I've been asked by a few people yesterday, what would be the percentage? Through my own experience, it can grow up to 30+% in terms of profitability, and I've done it. In the long term, I've managed to sustain it at around 25–26%. And if we look at today's international situation, companies like Navitas is listed. Similar situation. Yes, please.
When you say 30 or 26%, that's gross margin or that's net profit? Or
EBITDA profit.
EBITDA profit as a percentage of sales?
Yes. As a percentage of revenue, because, good question, we recognize revenue across the duration of the course. So at times we have a lag period before we fully realize our sales. And we have gone through it. So every year it builds up on top of it. So the sales is when we go to the market, get a student in, let's say to the University of East London, they pay £10,000 per year. Day one, my sales is £10,000. Great. But it doesn't come to Bharat's books, which is doing the profit and loss statement. So what Bharat does, Bharat says, I don't care how hard you work, I divide it to 10 months because the students are going to stay 10 months. So that's revenue. So 1,000 per month is our revenue. What we are presenting in all of our figures are revenue. The sales are indications that we use to see how do we look like. That's why we have very good visibility on what's going to happen to us in the next 6 months. Anytime sales goes a little bit down, we get nervous because we know next 6 months could be a bit dangerous. Goes up, we are kind of relaxed and thinking, okay, that's good. Now work on another 6 months. So, and the business model is very, very simple. It's simply saying more locations, more programs, and a strong market and sales reach. So just 3 things, as simple as that. So why should an international student choose Malvern? Number 1 is the brand reputation. Malvern is a global brand. You might think and say, I've never heard of Malvern as an education provider. Have you? No. But if I've been presenting to a similar cohort in Asia, in Middle East, in South America or Russia, I could have a different response. Specifically, if you had kids who were going to UK to study English, Malvern was definitely one of your options to choose. So we are known by agents and we are presented to parents in overseas, and we are working with the top agencies of the world. And that's where our connection came in. 3 strong reasons. Why do they present Malvern? Number 1, 20 plus years in the market. Malvern House was established in 1999. The guy who have established it, he has done a great job, invested a lot into branding, and the name is known. Day one, we came to the business. First thing we did, we changed the name from AEC to Malvern, the group name. And everybody said, why are you changing the name? I said, I've done an international survey. AEC is not known. Maybe into the investment market is known, but not in education. Malvern is known as a UK brand. And I checked with a lot of agencies I knew. They told me they know Malvern. They're happy to work with it. So why don't you work with them now? Last few years, they have not really been in touch. So there was some management issue, obviously. So 20 plus years in the market. That's the number 1 point. Number 2 is students' experience. We cannot hide anything these days from the market, but it's really touching when someone goes online, check Google, check Facebook, check Instagram, and see all those positive points about the experience the students had with Malvern. And we run these Instagram free live sessions every Wednesday, telling people, students from around the world for an hour can come in and ask questions, English language questions they have. We purposely do it for marketing purpose. We get about 3,000 people coming in every week. And a lot of them say, I've already studied in Malvern, I'm very happy, I want to come back again. So that's a key point. The third thing is quality rating and accreditation. Before I go to quality rating, I should say, I talked about the previous management, but in reality, we have inherited some good things as well. Malvern House, London location, the building, the infrastructure inside it, the interactive whiteboard and everything they have done a good investment at that time. The interactive whiteboard they have now, you can't see it in the schools around the world. You can hardly see that type of technology in the schools around the world. There are similar versions, but they didn't save money, they put the best. And that's 10, 11 years ago, the investment is still running. And we do quality and international ratings. So the in-country ratings gives assurance, the final assurance to parents that this school is acceptable by local authority, doing well, have very good rating in UK and Singapore, or in Malaysia, Manchester, Brighton. It makes it easier for them to make a decision to join Malvern. Okay, let's look at the growth strategy. Number one, in terms of our growth strategy, is global partnership with reputable brands. Two benefits out of this. Number one, it gives us more products, so we can have more classes open. Each of these are a product that we are offering in different locations. Number two, Malvern piggybacks on these brands' reputations, on the partners' reputation. We offer University of London degrees, the 3 years degree in Singapore. But when we go internationally to sell that program or locally, we don't need to say how good University of London is. Everybody knows. We are fully approved, accredited franchise by University of London, so they're controlling the quality of delivery and they do their own examination there to make sure LSE and University of London's brand is not affected. So parents know it. The type of questions we might get is like, I had one agency calling me from China the other day saying, is this real? And I said, look, don't look at our website, go to University of London's website. We are there. So I sent him the link. Some of these brands, we also go internationally with them. ACCA is an example. We have reached an agreement with them and they're funding a global branding with us. And we are allowing students to exchange between our campuses. And we are bringing other schools as partners as well. Like this Indonesian school, we don't own it, we don't franchise anything, it's just a strategic partner. And we allow students to exchange between our schools. And we have built a great relationship in the last 2 years with ACCA to the extent that they have invited me to be the keynote speaker in 2 weeks' time in Singapore to their regional conference. So what I want to say about those brands, and again back to the management team, these brands, they don't just partner with anyone. They are picky. They look at quality, they look at return on investment. And because of our background, they're happy to work with us. So that's where it comes, our experience and the relationship we had with them comes to the place. Look at University of Northampton. We were the highest performing, internationally highest performing partner they had in the world in New Zealand. And these guys all know it, and they were chasing me at that time to work with them. But New Zealand was smaller, so I couldn't really work with all of these. So scalability, the good thing about this business, as I said, is simple. And all we need to do is to do more of what we do well, to have more classes, more subjects, more locations, and international presence, have a strong marketing team, and present ourselves internationally. In terms of more locations, we're already there. We have London in King's Cross, Manchester in Piccadilly Square, Singapore, Orchard Road, all key locations. Malaysia, Chinatown, right in the center. And we have Brighton coming up end of this month. It takes me an hour from my King's Cross office to my Brighton office because 5 minutes to King's Cross station, 50 minutes to Brighton, 5 minutes walk to the school. It's a key location there, if the train is not delayed, by the way. So we have covered these more, and then the international. We have a strong international presence that, not today, we have built it over the last 11, 12 years. Relationship with these international agencies who feed us with the students. So the capacity is there. We just need to welcome more students, and that's what we are doing right now. That's the key. We have people around the world helping us to bring more students to our centers. A year ago, 7, 8 months ago, I think, when I was doing similar presentations, it was very difficult and challenging because I had to keep saying, look at my background and guess the future. Now, at least we have the first round of results from our trading update. We'll have a proper results out soon, but it's very satisfactory for myself and the team to be able to demonstrate this. I will ask Bharat to take over here.
Thanks, Sam. Kia ora tato. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Bharat Guha. I'm the Chief Financial Officer for Malvern International. As Sam has alluded, my background, I've had 20 years of tertiary experience in New Zealand working with Sam. Basically, my area of expertise is being a Chief Financial Officer for an educational institution. But the other portfolio that I'm very strong in is also on international student marketing. So What we had to do over the last 2 years is effectively spend a lot of time, hard work, painful, reviewing every single program in the 7 operating entities that we have. We looked at the profitability of each program. We also looked at the way they fitted to the vision that we have strategically. We have had to exit a number of programs where we had to make the hard call saying, this does not fit our profile moving forward. Besides that, we also looked at each line item in terms of our support services. Can we do things more efficiently? Can we do it smarter? So what we've established, when you have 7 operating entities, it's silly having 7 finance teams all doing their own thing. We now have moved toward a shared services platform for our finance and accounting, our student management system, and also for our social media digital advertising. These are key components of making sure that our digital backbone or infrastructure is in place. So just carrying on from what Sam has mentioned, it is great with a focus on marketing, international marketing, that we've been able to double our revenue. More importantly, we've hit the break-even point last year. So we know that, right, when we turn over this amount of revenue at about 65% capacity, we're able to break even as a consolidated business. 55% of our revenue is actually from the UK. Basically, there are students doing English as a second language. UK is such a strong brand. Just talking to a lot of people in the UK, sometimes they don't realize that the whole world looks upon UK as the center of excellence for education. When I was growing up in Singapore, the first thing people ask you is, if you're going to study overseas, are you going to the UK? They say it in a very soft, envious voice. So, and it's good to see that UK still has that dominant position. Singapore, professional qualifications, ACCA, we get 70% local students, 30% of them international students, and that's growing quickly. So we get students from China, Indonesia, Myanmar, because Singapore is seen as the financial hub for Southeast Asia. It's got a very transparent system, and parents are happy to send them there. So that has helped us in actually breaking even. This is just a simple break-even point. As we've mentioned in the past, the fixed costs, things like leases, our rental for our facilities, that's all covered, including our academic and support staff. Variable costs would be our additional class materials, additional teachers for running additional courses. And now we're in the unique position moving forward where we know we've covered all our break-even infrastructural costs, and our main focus is marketing and ensuring that we keep the quality there so that parents out there, if they are looking to send their children to study English to the UK, they'll think of Malvern in the first instance, or if they're looking at doing professional qualifications in Singapore, they think of Malvern again to send that out. So in closing, before I pass it back to Sam, I'm going to say that a lot of you, I know you've got a lot of friends overseas. So if any of them are looking at studying English in the UK, think of Malvern. We've got a holistic education system. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Bharat. Just to conclude, so we have here Journey to Success. It's the mission we introduced when we came on board. We all care about education. We significantly invest in our own and our kids' education. And the fact that we have Journey to Success here is representing the fact that we are here to take part in our students' journey to success. And it applies to the whole company as well. So what it presents is not only a students, it's the entire stakeholders. So the opportunity here is for investors not only take this opportunity in investing into a financially performing company, but also take part in journey to success of other kids around the world. And that's why we have our mission here. And we're all working hard towards offering quality education in a financially performing business. And we know how to do it. And we have been doing it, and we have proofs for it. Thank you.
Could you talk about what you're doing in online and whether that's currently a material contributor to the group?
Sure. We have invested heavily last year on preparing our online platform. We have tested for the first round. We have got enrollments in it. Strangely, it's performing better in China, where we didn't think it will. But we have an upgraded version of it coming out in the middle of June. And it's definitely a big component of our business. And in the coming future, I think in my future presentations, coming years, you will see a lot of online thing here. Because we have built the products, the recordings for English language. We're almost there for business qualifications. We have linked it to UK universities. So students do 2 years with us online, 1 year in the UK as a top-up and get a degree. So we use all those strategies. And these are all coming on board. We have gone through a year of testing now. And it's working well. And as a key marketing way of doing it, we are offering the English language part of it 3 months as a complimentary package to our own students who are leaving. So they can pick it up and also offer it to their friends with a discounted figure.
How much spare capacity is there in your existing buildings?
Different locations and different site is different. But on average, as Bharat mentioned, we have about 40% spare capacity. The reality is, if we exclude summer, for example, in London, because summer we rent other spaces as well to fill up. We have summer camps, small kids coming from all over Europe and Asia and South America. And apart from, if we exclude summer, in London, for example, we easily can have about 60% spare capacity. So that can add up a lot. I can see that this revenue goes about to 20 million with the existing capacity.
Can you tell us a little bit about your current cash position, and do you have any investments that are required to realise your business plan?
Based on the trading updates we had out there, obviously we were in a bit of difficulty at the end of the year with the cash position. And we came back to the market, asked for the cash, and it came to help us. We have this cash flow up and down based on our bookings, because one single and very important fact about our business is that we are busy in the summer in the UK. And because of the groups we get, the amount of bookings, we have to pay a lot of deposits to accommodations and other service providers and other. So it puts a lot of pressure on us, but it's a temporary thing. So it goes ups and down through the year. For the end of the year, obviously, we had to work on all these online and other things that we have done. So that's why the pressure came. And now we have Brighton almost ready as well. So I don't see any significant problem coming up in terms of cash flow.
Would some further cash be useful in pushing your strategy forward quicker, though?
You see, if you look at the plans we have in terms of strategic planning, we have about 20 projects that we can work on and increase this revenue further. But like any other business, we have to get the balance right. So we don't want to disappoint our existing shareholders who have already been through the pain of helping us to building it. So we will be taking a smooth transition as we grow.
Hello, can you tell us a little bit more about your related party loan and the convertible loan notes?
Sure. The related party loan is very interesting. The KSP in Singapore, the group that funded, this is not the only thing they funded. Over the years that AEC was suffering from 2011 to 2016, they have actually funded, I think, about £4 to £5 million, and they have converted everything. This was the remaining back of it. And because last year our strategy changed to change the shareholding situation internationally, they left it there at that time because otherwise they would cross 30%. But our strategy changed to engage more of UK investors and change the investment position. And they agreed to dilute by just holding what they have right now. So we kept that 600,000 aside. There's no interest attached to it. And they're going to be paid when we can pay them. So they agreed not to convert that one. I mean, we had a lot of discussions. It wasn't as simple as they just agreed. It took a long time for them to agree with our strategy. And that's why we came back to the market last year. And in terms of convertible, it's a small amount, 300,000, I think. Yeah, and it's one of the previous shareholders of KSP. And we have no relationship with him to force him to convert or not. I think he might hold on it for the next 2 years and then convert. I don't know. We have no relationship with him. The interest on that convertible is 3% on that 300.
I was just wondering how Brexit has affected your customers and sort of their plans for maybe sending their kids to the UK or
Yeah.
otherwise.
When I was studying economics, one of the facts that we used to study was that economic downturn is good for education. So we are not in an economic downturn, but interestingly enough, Brexit is working in our favor. So what's happening is UK government is coming up with policies which is supporting international students from Far East and South America and Russia and other places to come to the UK. For example, they have moved China from a high-risk country to a low-risk list, and Brazil the same, and a few other countries, so students from those destinations can come easier. Another policy they just came up with is students finishing a degree can work in the UK for 6 months. And as parents, you see, I have a daughter, first thing I asked her was, when you go to university, make sure you work 20 hours per week, and make sure you have a little bit of working opportunity so you can gain experience. Again, she asked me if I should go and work for a financial sector as an internship. You have friends and others. I said, you have to work in that restaurant first before you go there. So there are stages in developing kids. And this comes as being very favorably looked at with international students. We're already feeling the demand coming up. In terms of European students coming to Malvern, our main students coming from Europe are enrolled in short courses, 2 to 4 weeks. And that's not going to be affected because 2 to 4 weeks doesn't need long-term student visa. They just get it at the border.
If you could join with me in thanking Sam.
Thank you. Thank you.